Well, my name is Derek Bruno. I'm an entrepreneur here in Wetaskiwin, Alberta. I've been in business with my brother and my wife. We own a number of different companies. One is the Peace Hills Pure Water, which is located in Wetaskiwin, and we do bottled water and water technology. We also have a Chester's Chicken franchise out in Hobbema, and as well as a convenience store called Cree Convenience. My wife and I have a company called SevGen Consulting, and what we do, we're management consultants and predominantly work on community economic development initiatives.
Derek and I both have a passion for community development work and economic development, so we decided to start our company SevGen so that we could take on different contracts and work with different communities around that area.
I began my path of entrepreneurship at a very young age. I was 19 at the time, and basically my brother and Derek and I, we decided that we would embark upon small businesses as a way to create side income for our university educations.
We were actually looking at starting the water company first, but as we got into the business planning, we found that it was going to be a really high investment and it was going to be a very risky business.
One of the obstacles within the water company is that the assets are quite expensive. It was a very expensive business endeavor to become involved in.
So we actually took a step back and said, well, what is something that is more affordable and can bring a return on investment a little quicker? And so we got the idea of the convenience store by just looking around at the marketplace, looking how the shoppers in Hobbema, where they went, where they predominantly shopped, and with those locations, can we compete with those? We went out to all the different banks, the major banks, and they all turned us down, and that's where we kind of learned about the Indian Act and why it's pretty tough for Aboriginals to get into business. But we found a company called Alberta Indian Investment Corporation, whose mandate is on-reserve lending. Cody was 18 at the time and I was 23, so we were pretty young-looking guys, and so I can only imagine what they were thinking when we presented our business plan and we're saying we want some money to set up a business. But they took a chance on us, and thankfully, because of that, we're here today.
There have been a number of times where Derek and I have had to make tough business decisions, and we've often made the wrong decision. I mean, I always say that we've actually failed our way to success. We've made a lot of mistakes along the way.
The interesting thing about that story is the lending officer who gave us the money, she says, Derek, she says, the reason why we lent you the money is, your business plan was okay. It was a beginner's business plan. And she says, but it was your enthusiasm. You convinced me that you guys were a good investment.
Cree Convenience actually worked out to be somewhat of a success. We planned on a certain percentage of sales within our first year, and we actually quadrupled that within the first year.
And the next thing you know, we're full-time entrepreneurs, and and some of the cash flow from the first business parlayed into other businesses.
I'm passionate about working in this area because I'm a Métis woman. My father's First Nations. I'm married to someone who's First Nations. So it's just really in my heart to work with First Nations people and work with First Nations communities. And I just really see that we have so much potential in our communities that's not being brought to full realization.
My wife Teresa and I, we were fortunate enough to obtain our MBAs together. As we finished our MBAs, we started talking about how we're going to use this education to really benefit people. And of course, for us, because of our backgrounds, we said, well, we'd like to focus on First Nations community because they're the ones that need the most help.
And there are challenges that First Nations people face specifically when it comes to credit, and especially credit to start a business, that sort of thing. And it is a really, it's a big challenge for a lot of people to obtain that credit and to even understand the process in getting credit to start their businesses.
Before real change can happen, you need to educate the folks that you're working with, and in a way that where they understand, they feel comfortable receiving the information. Right? To show everybody sort of what we're capable of. Depends on the day. Stop! Go like this. I just want you to start percolating that in your head. Okay. So we we partnered with a nonprofit in Toronto and created a program called Change It Up. And what Change It Up is, it's a strength-based program, meaning we work with individuals between 15 and 30 who weren't so successful in school, they weren't so successful obtaining a job.
What we found is many of our participants, they basically live paycheck to paycheck. They don't think about their future. They don't think about, you know, saving for their children's needs, or they don't think about things like even a mortgage or how credit affects them, that sort of stuff. So we really think that financial literacy will just be another tool we can give them so that they'll have success in that area of their life.
I think the biggest part is just mentorship. I think that for a lot of the young people that we work with, they've never seen a young person actually succeed on a reservation. So as a mentor, we're able to sort of work with them and say, look, I'm from a community similar to yours, right? I know what you're going through. I understand. We will actually take these individuals, and if they're ready to go back to school, we go to the school with them. We talk to the counselors, and we help them fill out their paperwork, and we continue to follow up with them. And if it's work related, you know, we'll take them to go get their work boots, their safety tickets. You know, even for the interview, we'll take them to go buy the clothes. I mean, it's going the extra step that I think, much like I would that I would for my family. For me, it's actually been amazing because I always think in our journey through life, you know, it doesn't really matter if I'm a success, because you know that it'll just be me. Whereas if I can work with my family, say in the instance with my brother and my wife, you know, when I'm an old man, I can look back and I can share all these experiences with somebody, and that to me means a lot more to me than making a lot of money or anything like all the material things that kind of come with business. You know, if you were to ask me would I ever leave, probably not, because it's where I'm from.